Hey y'all, what's up and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Sabrina and welcome back to my book nook. So today is not going to be a book review. I'm actually instead going to be giving some book recommendations. Actually, I don't know if I would call them recommendations. Rather, I'm going to be listing off my favorite cute, sweet, comfort romance books. These books are like the fluffy romance books you read whenever you're sad or you're feeling down or you're bored and you want to feel all warm inside, I guess. Yeah, they're just my basic cute, sweet, comfort romance books. Some of them I've read actually pretty recently. Some of them have been my comfort books for years. Some of them are a little bit more adult with some adult stuff in it, and some of them is marketed towards 12-year-olds. But you know what? We're not here to judge. Or at least I hope you're not judging. But this is my list and I've stuck to it. I honestly don't care, okay? I don't care. I love these books. They're my comfort romance books and I'm here to share them, okay? Great. So without further ado, I think we can get into the video. Let's start with my first comfort romance book, okay? Alright, first one is Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. Now, I read this book pretty recently. I believe maybe a month ago, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. Yeah, around a month ago. So this is actually a pretty recent read. However, this is a comfort romance book because I know it is, okay? I know it is. It's cute, it's sweet, it's funny, it's contemporary. It's just, it's filled with lovable characters and friendships and just such a sweet relationship that it just meets all the criteria for a comfort romance book. I mean, I feel like this is the core comfort romance book. You know, there's enough drama to keep you interested, but not too much to stress you out. And Alex and Henry are so cute, it literally gives you a toothache. Again, it's just overall such a cute, sweet romance book. You know, this book is definitely a bit more on the mature side. You know, there is some smut in it, but it's not like super graphic. And if that stuff makes you uncomfortable, honestly, just skip it. It's really not that important at all. So yeah, this definitely is a bit more adult-ish, but it's still such a sweet book. I read this book after I read The Secret History, which was like a really intense read. A good intense read, but an intense read nonetheless. So reading this book after was sort of like a cool down, and it made me feel happy and normal again after The Secret History. And I think the fact that it is contemporary and modern makes it all the more funny and more relatable. So yeah, this is one of my favorite comfort cute romance books. Next one is not as popular and it's kind of old, honestly. Like, you can tell by the writing that it's kind of old. The next book is The Start of Me and You by Emery Lord. I have loved this book since, God, how long have I loved this book? Couple years. I read this in summer of 2017, I think, maybe earlier. God, so 4 years maybe? I don't even know. I was just, this is my comfort book. I recently reread it and I realized that it is so obviously branded towards 12-year-olds, but you know what? I don't care. I don't care. It's still so good. The romance is pure and sweet, and the world created inside this book is just so comforting. The friendships and the relationships, it's just, oh God. I loved it. I love it. I love it. I love this book. There definitely are super duper cringy parts in this book. Like, don't get me wrong, this is a very, very cringy-ish book, but it's cringy in like a good way, I guess. Like I said, this is like heavy nostalgia for me. Oh, where's my tongue blue? Oh my God, I had like a Sour Patch thing. That's why I was like, why is my tongue blue? Okay, getting off track. Anyways, so this is probably, I think, the oldest book on this list, like in terms of me reading it. This is my oldest comfort book. It still continues to be one. It just makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. This book is like eating a chocolate chip cookie fresh out of the oven. It's like getting in the shower after a warm day of tanning on the beach. It's like cozying up by the fire on Christmas Eve. It's just so comforting. Oh my gosh. I really don't know how to explain the amount of like happiness this book brings me, because I love it so much. And I know it is cringy, and sadly I do wish there was more diversity in this book, but I feel like nostalgia just wins out for me. I mean, this is just so heavily nostalgic, and it's a good book regardless, honestly. I mean, if you love cute, sweet romances, and this book actually packs a bigger emotional punch than you think it would have. I mean, last time I reread it, I cried for some reason. Yeah, I love this book. Y'all should read this book. However, beware of how cringy it is, but the romance makes up for it. The friendships make up for it. The entire world inside this book makes up for it. So I love it. All right, so my next cute comfort romance book is Beach Read by Emily Henry. This is also one of my more recent-ish reads. I read it a couple months ago, I believe. So I guess that's kind of recent. I don't know if a couple months counts as recent, but it does in my head. This has like all the classic cute romance tropes. Enemies, although it's a bit of more on the like rivals side, I guess. So rivals to lovers, next door neighbors, beach. It's like a beach setting, I guess, which I don't really know if it's like a trope, but I do love books that are set at the beach, or it's like a beachy setting summer thing. Did that even make sense? Whoa, that did not make sense. Gus and January, I love their witty banter, and this book is also a bit more on the adult side. There is like smut in this, and it is a bit more graphic. Again, just skip it if it makes you uncomfortable. It's not that important. This book is actually a lot more heartwarming than you think it would be, and it's a lot more emotional than you think it would be as well. I mean, towards the end I was tearing up a bit, and I laughed, and then I teared up again from like happiness. And I know my sister said she cried during this, so I'm calling her out. I'm not making fun of her, by the way. I'm just like pointing out stuff, I guess. But yeah, I guess this book is like kind of emotional, and I liked the romance in this book is a little bit more like realistic, I guess. And when I say realistic, take that with a grain of salt. And I honestly think that this like realistic-ish romance makes it even better, you know? However, there definitely are some cringy parts in this book, as it is a bit more modern, a bit more contemporary, but every book has like some cringy parts in it. I feel like you can't really avoid that, so what are you gonna do? That's pretty much like all I think I can talk about this book. I really don't know how else to explain it, but it is such a cute romance. It does bring me a lot of comfort whenever I read it. So next book. Okay, so next book on the list is Tweet Cute by Emma Lord. Now this is my most like recent read out of all of the books on this list. I think I only read it maybe like 1 to 2 weeks ago. And that is like really recent, so it hasn't had that time to build up like that nostalgia for me. But even reading this book for the first time brought me so much comfort. It was like taking a break from reality and just like absorbing yourself in this book. I read it in one sitting. I honestly read most of my books in one sitting now, and I already know that I'm gonna read this in the future so many times, because it is just, again, it hits like all the classic cute romance book tropes. You have frenemies to lovers who are also kind of like rivals, I guess. It's kind of hard to explain. And they also have like witty banter with one another, and there's baking in it, and I don't know what it is, but whenever like a romance book has baking in it, I'm automatically a sucker for it. I don't even know why. I love romance books with baking in it. Now, the concept of this book seems like really silly and really stupid, and I mean, it kind of is when you say it out loud, but it was actually like surprisingly really good. This book is about, you know, Twitter, about using Twitter. It is marketed as like a Gen Z Twitter thing, so I thought the tweets would be really cringy, considering that the book is about 2 Gen Z teenagers who run corporate Twitter accounts who roast each other. and I thought that would just mean like the tweets would be super cringy, but they're actually like not half bad in this book, and they're kind of funny. I know, it was really surprising to me as well. I thought this was gonna be like a really cringy, just bad book, but it turned out to be really good. Like, I did not expect it to turn out the way it did. Now, don't get me wrong, there definitely were cringy choices made, but the majority of the book is lighthearted, it's witty, it's funny, it's sweet, and it has baking in it, and it has frenemies to lovers-ish. I don't know. I guess I really, really love this book, and I know it's gonna be so comforting to me, and it already was comforting to me the first time I read it. Also, I just want to talk about their ship name in this book, which is Pepperjack, like pepper jack cheese. I thought that was cute. Now that I'm like saying it out loud, it sounds stupid, but it's like cute in the book. So if any of y'all want to check it out and read it, let me know. So let's move on to my final book on the list of my cute comfort romance books. I keep getting distracted because I see my mouth moving and I see my tongue and I'm like, why is my tongue blue? But we've already gone over this. We know why my tongue is blue. It's still so weird. It's so weird. Okay, sorry. So my final book on the list of cute, sweet comfort romance books is To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. Now, I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking, and I don't want to hear it. Let me explain myself. Just let me explain myself, okay? So this is definitely one of the older books on my list. I read this book a couple years ago, I think, maybe around the same time I read The Start of Me and You, a little later after that, I think. So definitely lots of nostalgia with this book. Yeah, it's just been one of my comfort romance books throughout the year, and upon rereading it, I realized that a lot of the reason I like this book is because of that nostalgia, because upon rereading it, it is not the best book ever, but I still loved it. I still love it, okay? And you know, rereading it, I couldn't help but compare it to the movies, and before y'all come at me, the movie is really good, okay? I don't even want to hear it. I hate how everybody just loved the movie when it came out and then just immediately switched up on it, calling it trash, calling it as bad as The Kissing Booth. Don't even compare the two. I understand that people only said this because like the last two were bad, and I agree, the last two movies were bad, okay? But the first movie was really good. It still is really good, and it's one of my comfort romance movies. So not only is the book one of my comfort romance books, but that movie is one of my comfort romance movies. The movie is great, okay? And it's one of the more recent popular movies that paved the way for more Asian American representation in media. So obviously I'm gonna support it and I'm gonna love it, and regardless or not of diversity in it, it's still a really great movie. Going back on the diversity thing, I was watching an interview between Leigh Bardugo and Jenny Han talking about their books being adapted for Netflix, and Jenny Han talked about how To All the Boys I've Loved Before opened up gates for, you know, Asian American creators, and about how more Asian Americans are being represented in media now. And because of To All the Boys I've Loved Before success, that might have been the reason we got an Asian American Alina in Shadow and Bone. So I can't help but be grateful for that movie, not only because it's good, but because of the impact it had. Like, I love To All the Boys I've Loved Before, okay? So I don't want to hear anybody like on it, because it does not deserve that, okay? It does not deserve that. Y'all loved the movie when it first came out, but now you're switching up on it, and I don't get why. So I'm here to defend the movie until the day I die. Okay, great. Sorry, I got a little bit off track there, but I would definitely love to talk about Asian American representation in books and media some other time in the future, perhaps, because I definitely have a lot of opinions about that. Okay, back to the book. Now, the book is definitely a lot more like realistic, I guess, in terms of romance and how it plays out and how they talk to one another, and I kind of like that versus like the whole rom-com vibe the movie gives off. I definitely prefer book Peter over movie Peter, and I love how the book makes sure to stay in touch with Laura Jean's cultural background as well. She is half Korean, and I actually kind of like the open ending at the end because I think it gives it a more realistic ending, I guess. I don't know. Not to mention, this is another cute romance book that has baking in it. It's not as prominent as Tweet Cute, but it still has baking in it, and I love that. So, oh, and you know, this is also fake relationship, fake dating trope. So if any of y'all love that trope, this is it for you. Okay, so yeah, I think that's all my thoughts and all the books I wanted to share. I'm sorry I did get a little bit off track on the last book there, but that's fine. If you watched this entire video, thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, don't give it a thumbs up. If you really hated it, give it a thumbs down. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye!